African Heritage in America, from Enslavement to Empowerment. Hook. Imagine the sound of a gospel choir rising in a southern church, the pulse of jazz on a New Orleans street, the words of powerful orators echoing in the halls of Congress, or the rallying cry of Black Lives Matter reverberating across cities. These are not isolated moments, but chapters in a story that has shaped, and continues to shape, the very soul of the United States, the story of African heritage in America. 1. The Middle Passage, Roots Torn and Planted Anew. The journey of African Americans began in agony and resilience. The transatlantic slave trade, known as the Middle Passage, forcibly uprooted millions of Africans from their homelands between the 17th and 19th centuries. Men, women, and children were packed onto ships under horrific conditions, stripped of their freedom and identities, and brought to the shores of what would become the United States. Yet even in the face of unimaginable brutality, these Africans carried with them rich traditions, languages, spiritual beliefs, and skills. Their forced labor would build the agricultural wealth of the southern colonies, but their cultural roots would take hold and blossom in new and unexpected ways. 2. Life under enslavement, survival, resistance, and community. For more than 2 centuries, the institution of slavery defined the lives of millions of African Americans. Enslaved people endured violence, family separations, and backbreaking labor, yet they found ways to survive, resist, and create vibrant communities. Family and kinship. Despite laws that denied enslaved people the right to marry or keep their families together, African Americans forged strong kinship networks. Extended families, fictive kin, and communal child-rearing became essential strategies for survival. Culture and spirituality. African religious practices blended with Christianity to produce unique spiritual traditions, most notably the Black Church. Music, folk tales, crafts, and cuisine reflected a fusion of African and American influences. Resistance. From the earliest days, enslaved Africans resisted their captivity through daily acts of defiance, the preservation of African names and languages, escape attempts, and organized revolts like those led by Nat Turner and Gabriel Prosser. The abolitionist movement, fueled by both black and white activists, drew strength from the courage and testimony of former slaves like Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman. 3. Emancipation and Reconstruction, hopes raised, dreams deferred. The Civil War, 1861-1865, brought the institution of slavery to an end, and with the Emancipation Proclamation and the ratification of the 13th Amendment, millions of African Americans were legally freed. The Reconstruction era, 1865-1877, was a time of unprecedented opportunity and fierce backlash. Political participation. For the first time, African American men voted and held public office. Hiram Revels and Blanche K. Bruce became U.S. senators, and hundreds more served in state legislatures. Education and advancement. Freedmen and women established schools, churches, and businesses. The founding of historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs, opened doors to higher education. The backlash, Reconstruction's gains, were short-lived. The rise of white supremacist groups like the Ku Klux Klan and the imposition of Jim Crow laws in the South stripped African Americans of many rights, ushering in nearly a century of legal segregation and disenfranchisement. 4. The Great Migration, seeking freedom in the North. Beginning in the early 20th century, millions of African Americans left the South in what became known as the Great Migration. Seeking jobs, safety, and better futures, they moved to cities like Chicago, Detroit, New York, and Los Angeles. Urban communities. This migration transformed American cities. Harlem became a center of black culture, giving rise to the Harlem Renaissance, which celebrated African American art, literature, and music. Economic and social challenges. While the North offered new opportunities, African Americans still faced discrimination, restricted housing, and violence, such as the race riots in Chicago, 1919, and Detroit, 1943. 5. Cultural transformations, art, music, and identity. African Americans have profoundly shaped American culture across every field. Music. From spirituals and blues to jazz, gospel, R&B, hip-hop, and rap, black musicians have defined American sound. Legends like Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Aretha Franklin, James Brown, Tupac Shakur, and Beyoncé have influenced global music. Literature and art, writers like Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, James Baldwin, Maya Angelou, Toni Morrison, and Ta-Nehisi Coates have chronicled the black experience with power and beauty. Visual artists from Jacob Lawrence to Kara Walker have challenged and inspired. Sports. Jesse Owens, Jackie Robinson, Muhammad Ali, Serena Williams, and many others have broken barriers and become icons of excellence and resilience. Cuisine. Soul food, rooted in African, Caribbean, and Southern traditions, is a testament to creativity and survival, turning humble ingredients into beloved dishes. 6. Civil rights and social movements, the struggle for justice. The mid-20th century saw African Americans at the forefront of the fight for equality. Civil rights era. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, and Fannie Lou Hamer galvanized the nation. The Montgomery bus boycott, March on Washington, Freedom Rides, and the Selma to Montgomery marches led to landmark victories. The Civil Rights Act, 1964, and Voting Rights Act, 1965. Black Power and beyond. Groups like the Black Panther Party emphasized racial pride, economic empowerment, and self-defense. Later movements, such as the push to end mass incarceration and police violence, highlight ongoing struggles. Black Lives Matter. Founded in 2013, Black Lives Matter has become a global movement, demanding justice for victims of police brutality and systemic racism. Its impact is felt in politics, pop culture, and public consciousness. 7. Politics, leadership, and representation. African Americans have made historic strides in political representation. Elected officials, from the first black mayors of major cities in the 1960s and 70s to the election of Barack Obama as the first black president in 2008, African Americans have shaped local, state, and national leadership. Ongoing challenges. Voter suppression, gerrymandering, and underrepresentation remain obstacles, but the legacy of leadership continues with figures like Kamala Harris, Stacey Abrams, and Cory Booker. 8. Contemporary life, diversity, identity, and innovation. Today, the African American community is diverse and dynamic. Black Americans are entrepreneurs, scientists, educators, artists, and activists. They lead in business, technology, medicine, and beyond. Diversity within. African American identity is not monolithic. It includes descendants of enslaved Africans, as well as recent immigrants from Africa and the Caribbean, each bringing distinct perspectives and traditions. Innovation and influence. From Silicon Valley to Hollywood, Black Americans are shaping the future, challenging stereotypes, and creating new pathways for success. 9. Continuing the journey, legacy, and the road ahead. The story of African heritage in America is unfinished. It is a story of resilience and creativity in the face of adversity, a testament to the power of hope and collective action. Looking forward. As America grapples with its history and strives for a more just future, the voices and contributions of African Americans remain central to the nation's ongoing quest for freedom and equality. Closing hook. From the fields of the Deep South to the streets of Harlem, from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial to the digital platforms of today, African American heritage is the heartbeat of American culture and the conscience of its democracy. The journey continues, unfinished, unbroken, and unstoppable. If you'd like a deeper exploration of any era, individual, or cultural contribution, just ask. This is only the beginning of the conversation about African heritage in America.